then you're going to see him again. And you're never going to have to depart from him again. And it'll be a place where it's endless bliss. They will sing and shout and just have a good time, and they'll eat, and it'll just be a wonderful place, a wonderful time that we can never even imagine. It's so wonderful. So I'm going to conclude with this. I'm going to miss Calvin, but only for a short time. And I know that there are other people who are going to miss him more than I, because they've known him longer, they've loved him more. But Jesus loved him most of all. And he's where he's supposed to be right now. And I hope someday he will be too. I love you, Patsy. Joyce. Girls. Thank you.
I know Brother Calvin loved worship and loved music, and I know you do too. We talked Sunday morning about the amazing grace. You know, he has realized exactly what that means. We might just think we know right now, but he knows about amazing grace. And if you want to, let's all sing it together. Would you sing it with us? Well, it's amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Oh, I was blind, so blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear! Oh, the hour I first believed, and through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far. Oh, and God's grace, His grace will lead me home. When we've been there 10,000 years, oh, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
That was a song that Brother Calvin really loved. And I'm just looking back there in the back, and I can just about see him coming out with the vacuum cleaner down in our Burning Embers meeting and start vacuuming that floor. And a lot of us would get out there and we'd vacuum too. But no matter how much, if we stood in one spot 5 minutes and vacuumed it, when we'd go put the vacuum cleaner up, Calvin would come out and he'd say, I see something there. He was very, very good on cleaning. He was a clean freak. He loved for everything to be spotless. And yes, we're going to miss Brother Calvin because he was such a great honor for us to be around. He was a great pleasure to have within your life. Everything that Calvin would do and say around you, you could just enjoy it so much. let's see. Now, what more might I be able to say about Calvin with the good things that have already been said about him? Well, let's see. Let me get my pen out here. Okay, now, Pastor Doug, now, he said, you said a whole bunch of stuff there, Brother Doug. He said a whole mouthful, so let me draw that line there, Brother Doug. He's not said a whole bunch. And then Brother Hugh, Pastor Hugh, he sent a nice letter. It had a lot of wonderful things in there, didn't it? So I better mark that one down right there, what he has said. And these girls, they have done awesome singing. And Brother Hiram has done awesome singing. And our guitarist there, he has done an awesome job. So let me just mark all that stuff down. Let me see, I got to make sure I get my lines right here. Now, so I guess let's see, 2 bunches and 2 more bunches. That'd be about 4 bunches there. Yeah, that'd be right. That'd be right. But it all comes down to the bottom point here. Now, a lot of folks don't even have any idea what I'm doing. But now, that's exactly what Calvin would do. Every time we would go out and eat or anything, Calvin would bring up something and he'd get that pen out and he'd get a napkin and he'd start drawing little lines. I mean, to the minutest detail to let us know exactly how it was. And you think we're going to miss him? Oh, my goodness, yes. We're going to miss that. You know what? We have a group called the Burning Embers. Brother Calvin was a great part of our Burning Embers group. We've traveled all over the South here. And guess who always drove us to 90% of those places that we went? Brother Calvin. He was always there. He was one of the easiest going people that I've ever seen when he was behind that wheel. Now, take him out from behind that wheel, it was a different story. I mean, he could let you know, and he could speak his point. And that's what he was made of. Because Calvin spoke what he knew was truth. Calvin, I never have heard him speak anything that was an untruth. And he was jovial. He had a kind of a dry sense of humor. I loved to pick. And I would pick at him all the time, just like with Brother Hiram. There are 8 of us in our gang that we have. Pastor Hugh and Sister Judy, Sister Betty Balcom and Hiram Balcom, my wife Betty Ann, and me. And, of course, Patsy and Calvin. And one might come and say, well, the circle is broken. Well, you know what? We've just parted. We're not broken. We're parted for a little while. Because one day we're going to see Calvin again, Patsy. And I can just picture him up there right now. Says, okay, guys, man, y'all need to see what all is up here. Y'all are missing so much. Come on, the first train that you can catch. I'm going to miss Calvin. All of us, our gang, we're going to miss him a lot. But we're going to make it through Christ's help. God will give us that strength and the encouragement that we need from day to day. I mean, he never leaves us. He never forsakes us. He is always there with us. I can remember we'd go fishing like Brother Calvin loved to fish. And he'd always carry Patsy, because Patsy was his, I guess, helmsman, or no. She was the machinist there every time we'd go fishing. Hiram and I and Sister Patsy and Calvin, we went to the lake one day, and he had always put that boat up there at the house, and he would check it out, put it down in the 55-gallon barrel, and that thing would run like a charm. And so we get out there to the West Point Lake, and we're going out across it. We said, okay, now we're going over to such a place because that's where the crappie are. And so we got in the boat, and Hiram and I took off leading the way, and Calvin had his boat going. Boy, it was just a purry. So we get on out there, and I turned around, I said, Hiram, they're not following us. I don't see them. So Hiram whipped the boat around, we start going back, and all of a sudden, we see this cloud of smoke Man, it was a big cloud of smoke. So we could get on up closer, and I said, Hiram, Calvin's up the front of the boat. I don't see Patsy. He must have lost her. Well, what it was, he had Patsy to go back to the boat, the motor, and took the cover off of the boat, the motor, and sit it down and had her working that throttle. And she was back there, she was just a Jimmy in that sucker. And Lord mercy, you couldn't see her for the smoke. I don't see how she was breathing. But anyhow, a little bit later, she finally had it choked in and where it would go. And we went and fished. But that was that way with Calvin, with everything. Boy, he would have that motor running so good at home. But when we got, well, Brother Barry, I guess it's just under a load. But right now, folks, we feel like we're under that load. But we're not. Hallelujah. Because we've got God here looking down on us. We've got Calvin probably up there looking down on us too and saying, hey, everything's all right. Don't you cry. I don't want you crying because I am in better shape now than I have been in many years. I am not sick. I do not have cancer anymore. I can see good. I can run. I can walk. I can do anything I want to now because I'm walking on the streets of gold. That Jesus Christ went to prepare, hey, just for me. But not for me only, but for every one of us that is here today. And that's what it's going to take. We, as Brother Doug said, we've got to have and accept Jesus Christ into our hearts so that we're going to make certain that we're going to see Calvin again. I don't want to miss out on that opportunity of seeing Calvin again because not only he is there, but so many other precious loved ones from our church here, our family members, they have already gone there. And they're up there enjoying each other. And I can just picture as Calvin went over and he probably saw my mom and she would say, and you knew that little knuckleheaded Barry? And he would say, yes, ma'am, I did. And but we're gonna be a happy family again. We're not a broken chain. Remember that. When people say the chain is broken, no, no, no. The chain is not broken. It's just parted for a short while. And before many years, that chain is going to reconnect. And we're all going to be together again. Amen. You know, Calvin is one of the truest friends that anybody could ever have. If you ever come in need of anything, Calvin would be there for you. And Patsy, I know, and because I'm married too, and a lot of times there's things that goes on that we don't quite understand. Why things have to happen, sicknesses. And like I have told so many of you before, we don't understand why sicknesses comes up on us. And we don't understand why someone that is loved so much and is doing such good would be taken away from us. But we can only see the spectrum right around us, where God sees the entire spectrum out there. He knew what lied ahead. He knew he didn't want Calvin to suffer any more than what he had already done. So he took and picked that very, very special flower to carry and place in his garden. I can just picture as he made that crossing over, and Jesus and the angels were there to carry him, and Jesus reached out and took him and drew him to his bosom. I can just picture the smile that Calvin had and said, this is what I've been